Welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. Don't turn that channel. Secretary of State John Thurston is going to be with us, and I'm holding blueprints for a new foster home, and we'll be right back. Welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. I'm Perry Black, and on this particular program we have a very special guest, our Secretary of State, John Thurston. Welcome to Second Chance Ranch TV.
Thank you for having me.
Now, a lot of folks watch this show and they probably occasionally wonder, why do we have particular guests that are not directly perhaps involved in fostering, mentoring, and adopting?
Right.
So I wonder why we have you on here. Do you have any idea?
That's a good question. I received a phone call. No.
Yeah, the phone rang and I was sucker enough to say yes.
Yeah.
John, I'm holding in my hands right here our blueprints for our next foster home that we're going to be building in Benton. And I'm going to endeavor to build a very similar floor plan in Bryant. We currently have about 10 foster homes.
Yeah.
And we are always looking to expand to reach more children in foster care. Now, I said you're not directly involved in foster care, but your brother-in-law just had 2 infants for, I don't know, 6 or 8 months. So
that's right.
I suspect you know who those children are.
I do. And sweet little
baby
ones.
children.
Yeah. That's
So
right.
in Arkansas, there's, I don't know, about 4,000, 4,500 children in foster care. That number is always fluctuating up and down. Our goal on Second Chance Youth Ranch TV is to get to know people in places of responsibility that can help us change foster care in the state of Arkansas. When I say change, I'm saying make it better.
Right.
I live by a simple principle, and that is we reserve the right to get better. And I believe our children in our state deserve better.
Yes, sir.
And so, first segment's always about getting to know our guest. And through your experience in the state, your experience in your local church, which is Agape Church in West Little Rock, right?
It was for 15 years.
Yeah.
I'm now in East End, go to East Union Baptist Church. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're a converted.
That's a long story. I don't think we have enough segments to.
Well, that's the thing about our society. We're always on the move.
That's right.
I'm the pastor here, so I'm stuck.
Yeah.
I can't go anywhere else. There's nowhere else to go. Nobody else will have me. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
So tell me about you. Tell me where you grew up.
Sure. And I guess I'll kind of lead into it and explain, kind of why I'm over there at East Union. My first wife passed away in 2007. So while I was at Agape Church,
Yeah.
I was on staff at Agape for 13 years, sat up under that ministry for 15 years.
So all the people that watch V10,
that's right.
they know Pastor Caldwell.
That's right.
And he was your pastor for a long, long time.
You bet. And I remember when I got to know my wife today, we got reacquainted at our 20-year class reunion. And while we were dating and talking about marriage and so forth, I said, well, where are we going to go to church?
Yeah.
Because she was involved in her church there in East End.
Yeah. And
we're a blended family. And so we didn't want to, move those kids out of that church. They were rooted there. And so that's a little bit of back. That's why I'm over there.
But your mom and dad, James Thurston, who attend this church, they attended a Baptist church virtually up until they joined here.
That's right.
Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, and they love it over here for sure.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I was on staff there at Agape Church even right up until I was elected land commissioner in 2010. And I was probably like a lot of folks. I watched a lot of cable news and began to be irritated about the way things were going in different levels of government. And I thought, well, I'm going to run for office. And I do blame Pastor Caldwell for me being involved in this because he would teach, that Christians needed to be involved in government, run for office. And I guess after hearing that for 15 years, I thought I would run. And so I was the first Republican elected to Commissioner of State Lands in 2010, and then finished my 2 terms there. Felt like I had a lot more to offer. the learning curve in a constitutional office is huge.
Yeah.
I'm still in the curve. I'm
Yeah.
still learning. And then ran for Secretary of State, and Arkansans blessed me with this opportunity.
Yeah.
It's been good.
Well, you know, when someone says politics is dirty, well, if good people are not involved, then that only leaves
That's right.
dirty people, if you will. That's probably not the best way of saying it, but I'm not
Yeah.
running for office.
Yeah.
But, you know, they say politics is dirty.
Yeah.
But I think it was Churchill who said, when good men do nothing, tyranny reigns.
That's exactly
and we
right.
really are in a condition in our country where so many Christians have become conscientious observers.
Right.
Or objectors. You know,
Right.
we all sit around in a coffee shop eating donuts and talking about Jesus, complaining about politics. Well, the only way you change the world is to get involved.
That's right.
My generation dropped out of everything. You know, in the late 60s and 70s, a whole generation, speaking maybe a little too stereotypical, we dropped out.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to be a part of the rat race and the
Right.
dirty world. And
Right.
we weren't going to conform. And then we looked around and realized we'd all conformed to each other.
Right.
And the world wasn't getting any better. Some didn't inhale
Right.
and went all the way to the White House.
Right.
And others realized we've got to be engaged.
That's right.
And so this show is about engaging our audience throughout the Victory Television Network audience, which goes even beyond the state of Arkansas. And now with internet and everything else, goes around the world. How do we change the world one heart, one life at a time? And that's what fostering, mentoring, and adopting is all about. And that's really my heartbeat.
Right.
So let me just do about a minute here. What did you do at Agape for 13 years?
So I was in, it's a fancy word called ministry operations.
There.
And that is just a fancy way of saying I was in ministry of helps.
Yeah.
I did everything from cleaning toilets
Yeah.
to, you know, the maintenance to the security.
You're qualified to be a pastor then.
That's right, all sorts of things. And I was a licensed minister
Yeah.
through that ministry. I did a lot of prison and jail ministry during those times.
Doesn't that really tell us, though, he that's faithful in little
Right.
is given much.
That's right.
And a lot of people are looking for position and authority and titles, but if you look for an opportunity to serve, you will find a position and sometimes even be given a
right.
title. My title's Jack of all trades. My name's not even Jack.
That's right.
But we had years ago a toilet that my maintenance guy, I don't know, it's probably been 10 or 12 years ago, didn't know how to fix the flange, and the flange is what attaches the toilet to the floor, if you
Right.
will, or to the
Right.
plumbing. He didn't know how, so I called a plumber, and it was going to be a ridiculous amount of money. And I said, well, come in here, I'll show you how to change the flange.
Right.
And that's dirty work. But you know what? There's nothing dirty when it comes to serving the Lord. We're going to take a brief break. We'll be right back with John Thurston.
A mission field around you is filled with young hearts needing a forever family. And at Second Chance Youth Ranch, our team is committed to providing healthy, stable, loving homes and families to hurting children in the Arkansas foster care system and those up for adoption. Please contact us if you feel the tug at your heart to help foster or adopt, and find out the steps you could take to help fulfill a child's lifelong dream. Maybe you can't foster or adopt, but you could help. The need for thousands of children in the system is staggering. But with the help of faithful partners and business alliances, we are meeting those needs right now. Would you help us make a difference? Every gift, regardless of size, impacts a child's life directly and helps provide for a home in the gap right now. Visit the Second Chance Youth Ranch website at 2CYR.org to read more, watch the stories, and to make a contribution for a hurting child's care. Monthly partners are needed, so please contact us right away. And as you partner with this ministry, you are partnering with the Heavenly Father that has promised to be Father to the fatherless. God bless you for helping Second Chance Youth Ranch.
Welcome back to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. You know, this show is really on the air to get you engaged and to keep you informed. We're really all about changing the hearts and lives of young people, children, and impacting families. And that's why we have people on this show that are maybe not directly fostering. You're not a foster parent, are you?
No.
Have you ever been one?
No, sure have.
But you are a blended family, and because of that, you have a kind of an idea what it would be like for a child that would go from one home to another home, having to blend your families together with your wife.
Sure.
So John, tell me, where did you grow up? Did you grow up in Arkansas?
Yeah, born and raised here.
Where were you born?
Little Rock, but grew up in Saline County, still live in Saline County.
So where'd you go to school?
Sheridan. So it's interesting where I live in East End.
Yeah.
It's the Sheridan School District, Little Rock mailing address, and I live in Saline County. So it's...
So you graduated Sheridan High School?
That's right.
And what year?
That's right. 91.
91.
Yeah, 91.
Huh, 91. I probably spoke in your school. I think I probably spoke at Sheridan in 91 or 90. You remember when the young men committed suicide there?
Sure.
In and around that time is when I spoke.
Yep, sure do. I think I was 10th
Probably
or 11th
10th
grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I spoke there. Spoke at the old junior high. I don't know if it was a gym or some sort of old auditorium across from the high school. I actually got a standing ovation. I think they applauded because I quit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's a wonderful community.
Sure
Our
is.
head of school at Arkansas Christian Academy lives in Sheridan, David Clinton. A lot of people that watch this show know David. I was talking to an attorney from Sheridan just last week. She said, I was wondering if the David Clinton at your school is the same one that I know as Coach Clinton from Sheridan. I said, one and the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't realize you went to Sheridan. Where'd you go to college? Did you go to college?
Yeah, I went to Henderson State for a couple of years, and then eventually, I might have been a late bloomer.
Yeah.
Wound up at Agape Church and went to the Agape School of World Evangelism. And when you were talking about getting dirty, doing the small things,
Plenty of opportunity.
I
to do
remember
that.
something one of the instructors said that stuck with me, for 20 plus years. That God looks for availability. He doesn't look for ability. He looks for availability.
Yeah.
And but yeah, and of course I have about 12 more hours left to finish my economics degree at ULR. So I guess you never stop learning.
Never.
And but yeah, that's
Yeah, my thoughts, in order to be successful in any area of your life, including your Christian life, you got to be a continuous, conscientious,
right.
forever learner.
Right.
When you quit learning, I think that's the first step to failure.
Yeah.
When you think you know it all, I say it like this, you've probably heard this, if you're the smartest guy in the room, you need to get in another room.
Right. That's right.
God gives us opportunity. He looks for availability, and that's really how you became involved in politics.
That's right.
So tell me, what was the step? You said while you were at Agape, Pastor Caldwell challenging people to be involved and be engaged and make a difference. What was the step that went from serving in a local church to serving in the Capitol?
Right. So I tell folks that on election day, that is not the time to complain about who's on the ballot.
There you go.
It's too late.
Yeah.
So we've just finished our filing period, a couple weeks ago, I guess. And so you file to run for office here in Arkansas. And of course, if you pick the party you're wanting to affiliate with, you pay a filing fee. Of course, there's other ways to run. You can run as a write-in. You can run as an independent, gather enough signatures for your name to be on the ballot. But the path I chose, I went with the Republican Party, and you pay a filing fee, and then you're on the ballot, and then you're off to the races.
Why did you choose the Republican Party?
Well, platform.
Yeah.
That was the main reason, the Republican Party platform. I mean, I grew up Democrat.
Didn't we all?
But when I got old enough to begin to analyze my own beliefs and my own convictions and look at the parties at the platform. Now, the R or D by the name doesn't define the person.
Yeah.
But it gives you the platform by which, at least the person should govern by.
Support? Yeah.
Right.
I worked in the grocery business 14 years, and I voted for this born-again Baptist named Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
And then when he ran the second time, he ran against this Hollywood actor named Ronald Reagan.
Right.
Well, the grocery business was unionized, and the union came in above the time clock, posted Jimmy Carter and the Democratic platform and Ronald Reagan and the Republican platform. And I started reading it, and then I read this side, and I went, no, that's not me. I don't agree with that. No, I don't agree with that. No. And then I started reading down the Ronald Reagan Republican platform, And I went, that's what I affiliate with. And I went, oh my gosh, I think I'm a Republican.
Right.
Now, actually, I'm a Christian.
That's right. First.
And I'm really not real strong Democrat or Republican. I'm real strong Bible, faith, conservative, save babies, help hurting kids, and
That's right.
but I realized that there are really kind of two parties that have two different platforms.
Right.
And I want to support individuals
Right.
like you that help save children in the womb, and then children that are being used and abused, neglected, and hurt. And that's why I have you on. We got 1 minute. Tell me a little bit about your slant, your philosophy in fostering, mentoring, and adopting. Why is that important? We got
Sure.
55
we got
seconds.
a few seconds here. You know, not everyone can foster. We know that.
Yeah.
I never have. My family has. I've been around foster kids, you know, throughout the years. It's important because, you know, obviously our young people are our future.
Yes.
But when people think foster, they think, well, I can't do that. Well, there's other ways to get involved, as you know, when it comes to fostering, and giving is the main thing. And then I know a lot of people get hung up on, well, I can't afford $50 or $100 or whatever. But just think, if everyone that was interested in helping Arkansas kids gave $5,
It'd be huge.
what would that do?
Yeah. You know, and that's the real secret when it comes to making a difference in the world. Everybody's waiting for somebody else to do something, and I believe you're watching right now because God wants you to be involved. We're going to take a brief break and be right back.
Yeah, I'm good at basketball. I'm part of that. I mean, nobody can tell me I'm not good at basketball. Can I have that basketball? That basketball look good. My name is Brandon, I'm 15. I like to play football and basketball. Draw, listen to music, and read. I think my favorite book is Stephen King's books. I like all his books. I think my favorite one is It or the Evil Sleeping Beauty. My favorite subject is math. I'm really good at that. Well, my teacher yells at me most of the time. But then after she yells at me, I do what she says, and I appreciate the help that she gives me. I want to be in the NFL, the NBA. Lakers is my favorite basketball, and which my team didn't make it. My team didn't make it last year, which was the Chiefs, but they made it the year before that and the year before that.
If you could pick anywhere in the world, where would you want to go?
China, because they got the best place. Because New Year's Day, they have a realistic whale and water and rocket ship shooting up in the sky and stuff. And it's like everything looks real. Like you see the whale, you see the water, and it's like a projector that they don't even know is there. And you see it goes down, the whale goes down and splashes in the water, and it looks like they actually went in there. That's why I said China got the best tech in the world. If I could have a pet, it'd be a panda. So I could have something to hug, something to play with, something to feed, something to show off to everybody. I have a panda, everybody. Well, when I first got to the facility, which is 10 months ago, then I was angry for a couple of weeks. Didn't talk to nobody. I was non-compliant. And then I just snapped and said, hey, it's not right. You shouldn't take it out of everybody because it's not fair because they ain't the one who did it to you. So instead of me getting mad, breaking stuff, or getting mad, cursing, or fighting or anything like that, I ask, can I step out, go to my room, I go to the car room, or do something? I go to my room, listen to music, and come back and we could talk again. That's what I do, and I'll be calm. I think my life would be better if I went in the facility because the longer I stay in that facility, the more I fall down and become back in my old ways. I lost hope and say I ain't got nowhere to go, so what's the point of me trying to behave? I want to be a doctor because I want to go to college and have a good home. Somebody that could love me and treat me like I'm supposed to be treated, not like in a facility. Somebody that's going to care enough not to give up today, to give up the time I start getting upset or using my anger. Somebody can help me through that, and that I can actually learn to do better. have a second chance in life.
Hey, welcome back to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. I'm Perry Black, and our special guest, if you've just been joining us, is John Thurston, the Arkansas Secretary of State. And once again, I'm holding in my hand, John, this is the plans for the money that we raised at our recent banquet back in the fall of 2021. We raised enough money to build a new foster home.
Yeah, wow.
One of our House of Representatives, Tony Furman, gave us a lot in the city of Benton where we're going to build this house.
Wonderful.
Because there are individuals that are involved at the Capitol that are involved in changing the lives of children, and then people all over the state, and in my case, people all over the United States who support Second Chance Youth Ranch.
Right.
That's why we're on television, is we believe we can make a difference working together, not leaving out those at the Capitol, but connecting with people at the Capitol, because they're the ones who write the laws and change the laws and have the financing and available resources to truly change the hearts and lives of children. And the church has the mandate from heaven, because perfect religion, undefiled before God,
That's right.
is helping widows and orphans. And
right.
that's what we're called to do, and that's why we're partnered with Victory Television Network and many people like you and your family. Now, in the previous segment, though, we did talk about you haven't personally fostered, but don't you have a sister? Do you have a sister?
That's right.
Joanna
Joanna
Doesn't she have, she's married to Chad.
That's right.
And then there's someone in your family that has foreign exchange students.
That's right.
Come from all over the world.
That's right.
And they often come here, and I get to meet them and share the love of Jesus with them and the gospel. Yeah. And occasionally they get born again too.
Yeah.
So you are involved, and that's what we ought to be doing.
That's right.
Now, in our previous segment, as we ended, we talked about your involvement and our involvement in protecting the unborn. And I always hesitate for people to stop and say, well, this is all about politics. No, it's not about politics. It's about changing lives.
That's right.
And government does have a role to play in that.
Absolutely.
And the church can't just leave it to the government, and the government can't leave the church out.
Right.
So what is your role, and what has been your involvement in saving the unborn?
Well, you know, Secretary of State's office, obviously I don't pass laws, but and can just primarily be an advocate for, you know, the unborn. But you know, you mentioned the banquets and the Second Chance. I did have the privilege of coming out to the ranch at one point. I've been to a lot of the banquets. But you know, leadership matters.
Yeah, it does.
And there's a reason that the Bible says pray for all those who are in authority. Mm-hmm. There is a reason that verse is there. Because again, you mentioned in the previous segment, people don't want to get involved because it's dirty.
Yeah.
You're going to get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
And you know, and it is a battle. You know, all the teachings that I received, you know, over the years, and especially at Agape Church, talking about walking in love, you know, using your faith. I'd never used it fully until I got involved in politics and realized the importance of all those, you know, Christian ways of living.
Yeah.
And but you know, kind of back to what can people do for foster kids. The government can do so much. Individuals can do so. You can do so much. But if everybody does their part, and I say that when it comes in the area of politics as well. You know, I'm not the president. I'm not a congressman, but I can do what's in front of me. I can stay in my lane, do my best to obey God in the task that I've been assigned to, and then I think we start turning things around and get rid of the myth of separation of church and state. That is not in the Constitution.
Yeah. That was in a speech by Jefferson, wasn't it?
Right.
And somebody just took that from a speech and made it almost like a law.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
what was your involvement in pro-life? Are you pretty heavily involved
100%.
in pro-life and school choice?
You bet. I'm 100.
Different topics.
That's right. I'm 100% pro-life and school choice. You know, I take it a little step further. You know, I'm no exceptions when it comes to abortion. I'm against all of it. I do believe that is a life. How it got there, all the backdrop is irrelevant.
And more we're finding science is proving just what you said. When
Right.
does life begin? I saw a report not too long ago, just weeks ago. I think the twins were 24 weeks and they survived.
Right.
They actually thought mama was having a miscarriage.
Right.
And but those babies lived.
Yeah.
So we're finding more that science, everybody wants to talk about science, that science is actually proving that
Sure.
life, that baby is alive, and that life is a baby.
That's right.
It's easier to call it a fetus, but that's a baby, that's a human.
That's right.
And you've been very, very involved in supporting pro-life legislation.
You bet. Very vocal. I mean, when I first ran for land commissioner, you know, one of the reasons I chose the Republican Party was that very thing.
Yeah.
One of the main reasons I chose it. And I was criticized a little bit about, you know, well, you shouldn't use it as a, you know, litmus test, you know, just because someone's either pro-life or pro-choice. And I say this, I mean, if you can't get that, if you don't understand that,
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're a crazy person,
Yeah.
but I'm saying you're pretty void of judgment in a lot of ways if you don't understand that is a life in the womb.
Well, you think about it, who am I going to associate with? Someone who believes in killing a defenseless infant. If that were killing an adult or a child outside the womb, it would change your perspective.
Right.
But I don't know, it's such a controversial subject and I don't know why. So sometimes we wonder, how can we find out not what party is somebody affiliated with, but what do they support? Jerry Cox with Family Council every year will give out to churches all over this state a voter's guide that you can see what people support and what that individual person supports.
Right.
What we want you to support is changing hearts and lives. This show is to introduce you to people that are changing the world and making a difference. And you can make a difference. Somebody may never know your name. Judges chapter 6, there was a prophet who was sent to Israel. Israel had been doing evil, and nobody knows his name. Listen, God knows your name, and He knows the name of every hurting child. We encourage you to stay with us here at 2CYR-TV and get involved. We look forward to seeing you next time at Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. Bye-bye.